Hi and welcome. In this video, I'll break down my top 10 reasons to learn C# in 2021. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider subscribing and please ring the bell so that you'll be notified of future releases from this channel. At the beginning of 2020, I created a video where I broke down my top 10 reasons to learn C# in 2020. A link to this video is available below in the description. Many of my reasons to learn C# in 2021 will intersect with my reasons to learn C# in 2020, but in this video, I'll present different justifications for my reasons, as well as present some additional reasons that stand out to me to learn C# in 2021. I've made all URLs mentioned in this video available below in the description. These reasons are in no particular order. Number 1. The release of .NET 5. Before the release of .NET 5, .NET developers had a choice to build their applications on 3 .NET runtimes, namely .NET Framework, Mono, and .NET Core. .NET Framework is the original implementation of .NET. It supports running websites, services, desktop apps, and more on Windows platforms. The first version of .NET Framework was released on the 13th of February 2002, bringing managed code to Windows NT 4.0, 98, 2000, ME, and XP. Since the first version, Microsoft has released 9 more upgrades for .NET Framework, 7 of which have been released along with a new version of Visual Studio. .NET Framework requires a monolithic installation of the framework that can only run on Windows platforms. So initially, in order for a .NET application to be deployed to a target computer, that target computer needed to have the entire .NET framework installed on it, and the target computer needed to be running an appropriate version of the Windows operating system. With the release of Mono on June the 30th, 2004, this meant that .NET applications could run on Windows, Linux, and Mac platforms. This was the first cross-platform release of .NET. Mono is a cross-platform open-source .NET framework. .NET Core was released on June the 27th, 2016. .NET Core is a free, open-source, managed computer software framework for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS operating systems. It is a cross-platform successor to .NET Framework. .NET Core could be described as an agile, modular, cross-platform, better-performing version of .NET when compared to its predecessor, .NET Framework. The installation of .NET Core is not monolithic like .NET Framework and is not restricted to running on Windows platforms. When developing apps on .NET Core, only the base class dependencies that are used by your application need to be shipped with your applications, and your applications running on .NET Core can run on Windows, Linux, and Mac platforms. Due to multiple versions of .NET in existence, the .NET Standard was introduced. .NET Standard was introduced to solve the code sharing problem for .NET developers across all platforms by bringing all the APIs that you expect across the environments that you need: desktop applications, mobile apps, games, and cloud services. .NET Standard is a set of APIs that all .NET platforms have to implement. This unifies the .NET platforms and prevents future fragmentation. The next logical step was to unify .NET into one framework. This has now been achieved in the form of the latest release of .NET, .NET 5. The official release of .NET 5 was on November the 10th, 2020. Fundamentally, the significance of .NET 5 is that there will be just one .NET going forward, and you will be able to use it to target Windows, Linux, Mac OS, iOS, Android, tvOS, watchOS, and WebAssembly, and more. It is more like .NET Core than .NET Framework in that it is open source, is modular, and is cross-platform. This is only a brief overview of .NET 5. For more details on the significance of .NET 5, please view this video that I created earlier this year on .NET 5, and please read this blog posted by Richard Lander, which can be found at this location. C# is the most popular .NET language for .NET developers. It seems like a perfect opportunity to learn C# to take advantage of this new unified, flexible, and incredibly powerful .NET platform. The intention of Microsoft is to release a new version of .NET once a year every November. Number 2. C# is a powerful and flexible language that is relatively easy to learn. C# is a fully object-oriented C-based programming language. C# is a general-purpose multi-paradigm programming language encompassing static typing, strong typing, lexically scoped, imperative, declarative, functional, generic, object-oriented, and component-oriented programming disciplines. Anders Halsberg, a prominent Danish software engineer, is the chief designer of the C# programming language. He is also the co-designer of the TypeScript programming language. He was the original author of Turbo Pascal and the chief architect of Delphi. If you are familiar with other popular C-based, object-oriented programming languages like C++, Java, or JavaScript, picking up C# should be fairly easy for you. I would also recommend C# as your first programming language. To someone who is new to computer programming, it is easy to get up and coding fairly quickly due to the tools provided by Microsoft for free. You can download the .NET 5 SDK free of charge at this location, as well as the Visual Studio IDE Community Edition free of charge from this location. There are many free C# courses that can help you get started, including my 2 free courses that you can access on this channel. You can start with my C# for Beginners course and then progress to my Advanced C# course. The Beginners course will help you get familiarized with basic C# code and programming fundamentals like if statements, loops, arrays, exception handling, object-oriented principles, file handling, etc. The Advanced course covers topics that are more abstract in nature. I've tried to keep the code examples and explanations simple in the Advanced course to help you understand the more abstract concepts in C#, like for example delegates, generics, lambda expressions, asynchronous programming, link, anonymous types, etc. A link to a playlist containing tutorials for the C# for Beginners course and a link to a playlist containing tutorials for the Advanced C# course are available below in the description. I will also be uploading a lot more content related to C# in the future. Number 3. Asp Net Web Technologies, including MVC and Blazor. Blazor is a feature of ASP.NET for building interactive web UIs. Blazor gives you real .NET running in the browser on WebAssembly. So, as a .NET developer, you no longer need JavaScript frameworks like React or Angular to build your client-side interactive UIs. You're able to leverage C# to implement both client-side interactive UIs as well as server-side logic. This allows the .NET developer to use C# to implement both client-side and server-side code. The .NET developer does not need to venture out of the .NET sphere and mix JavaScript on the client side with C# on the server side. ASP.NET MVC inherently ensures a separation of concerns through the ASP.NET implementation of the Model View Controller (MVC) design pattern. The Razor technology can be used to intersperse HTML with C# code to create front-end views. C# classes can be used to implement data models and implement business rules. Controllers are written as C# classes for the purpose of ushering data between models and views. A separation of concerns means different teams working on an application can focus on their area of concern. Front-end specialists can focus on the views created using the Razor technology. Business rules specialists can focus on the code for controllers and models. Loose coupling of concerns facilitated by the MVC design pattern means aspects of a project can be created in parallel to one another, resulting in greater efficiency in the production of the .NET project. The MVC design pattern facilitates easier unit testing. The purpose of each component is inherently clear through the use of the MVC design pattern to someone who understands the MVC design pattern. This makes the maintenance of existing code as well as the addition of code to enhance existing functionality easier to implement. Let's navigate to this URL and go through some important points about ASP.NET. Modern scalable web apps with .NET and C#. Use .NET and C# to create websites based on HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript that are secure, fast, and can scale to millions of users. Interactive Web UI with C#. Blazor is a feature of ASP.NET for building interactive web UIs using C# instead of JavaScript. Blazor gives you real .NET running in the browser on WebAssembly. Dynamically render HTML with Razor. Razor provides a simple, clean, and lightweight way to create dynamic web content using HTML and C#. With Razor, you can use any HTML or C# feature. You get great editor support for both, including IntelliSense, which provides auto-completion, real-time type and syntax checking, and more. Seamless integration with your data. The popular Entity Framework EF data access library lets you interact with databases using strongly typed objects. Most popular databases are supported, including SQLite, SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, DB2, and more, as well as non-relational stores such as MongoDB, Redis, and Azure Cosmos DB. Built-in support for JavaScript UI frameworks. ASP.NET integrates seamlessly with popular JavaScript frameworks. Get started quickly with ASP.NET and Angular or React using pre-configured templates. Model View Controller, MVC. MVC is a design pattern used to decouple user interface, view, data, model, and application logic, controller. ASP.NET has built-in support for the MVC pattern, making it easy to follow this design pattern. Your platform, your tools. ASP.NET is cross-platform, allowing you to develop and deploy web apps on your OS. The Visual Studio product family provides a great .NET development experience on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. If you prefer to use a different editor, there are .NET command line tools and plugins for many popular editors. Free hosting on Azure. Get 10 ASP.NET websites for free with Microsoft Azure. You can also deploy to any major cloud platform, your own Linux or Windows servers, or one of many hosting providers. Click any of the buttons associated with these excerpts to learn more. Another recommended web page to read is this one, about Signal R, bringing your ASP.NET apps to life with Signal R. Today's modern apps are expected to deliver up-to-date information without hitting a refresh button. Add real-time functionality to your dashboards, maps, games, and more. What is real-time functionality? It's the ability to have your server-side code push content to connected clients as it happens in real time. Pretty powerful stuff. Number 4. IoT, Internet of Things. The Internet of Things describes the network of physical objects, things, that are embedded with sensors, software, and other technologies for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other devices and systems over the Internet. So what sort of devices can be Internet of Things devices? Smart bulbs, smart fridges, smart light switches, narrowband versus wideband hardware, security cameras, actuators, computer devices, voice command speakers, temperature, pressure, or humidity sensors, drones, and phones, etc. The term Industrial Internet of Things is often encountered in the manufacturing industries, referring to the industrial subset of IoT, IIoT. Potential benefits of the Industrial Internet of Things include improved productivity, analytics, and the transformation of the workplace. On the service side, through Microsoft Azure Cloud, you can leverage IoT services. For example, IoT Central connects your IoT devices to the cloud. IoT Hub enables highly secure and reliable communication between your IoT applications and the devices it manages. IoT Edge, a fully managed service built on Azure IoT Hub. It allows data processing and analysis nearest the IoT devices. Edge computing is when you offload compute from the cloud to local computer hardware such as IoT devices, phones, or home computers. Windows 10 IoT Core Services. a cloud services subscription that provides the essential services needed to commercialize a device on Windows IoT Core. It provides long-term OS support and services to manage device updates and assesses device health. So let's navigate to this URL and see what is possible for C# developers in the Internet of Things realm. .Net Iot Libraries. .NET can be used to build IoT systems. It's cross-platform and supports hundreds of sensors, displays, and input devices that use GPIO, SPI, I2C, PWM, and serial port interfaces. Devices include DHT temperature and humidity sensors, accelerometers, gas sensors, RFID modules, and more. Complex hats like Grove Pi, Adafruit, Seesaw, and Sense Hat are supported. For a full list of bindings, see device bindings. This open source library allows you to quickly build applications that run on Raspberry Pi, Hummingbird, BeagleBoard, Pine A64, and others. With specific adapters, you can even transform your regular PC or Mac into an IoT device. That makes it perfect to build your application before deploying on a smaller embedded device. Universal Windows Platform, UWP. UWP extends the .NET platform to enable development for any Windows device, including IoT devices running Windows 10 IoT Core. Build apps that run on Raspberry Pi, MinoBoard Max, Dragon Board, 410C, and more. UWP provides simple APIs for your board GPIO pins, plus a UI framework for writing responsive apps that support a number of screen sizes and interaction models. Wilderness Labs. Use your existing C# skills to build embedded solutions using Meadow. Meadow is a complete IoT platform with defense-grade security that runs apps targeting .NET Standard on embeddable microcontrollers. Meadow is open source and you can use it with your favorite IDE, such as Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, to quickly create IoT solutions. It has a rich hardware ecosystem, and you can also integrate it with the cloud of your choice, such as Azure. .NET Nano Framework, a free and open source platform that enables you to write C# applications for constrained embedded devices. It is suitable for many types of IoT projects, and you can write, deploy, and debug your code directly on real hardware using Visual Studio. It includes a reduced version of the Common Language Runtime (CLR) and features a subset of the .NET base class libraries, including the most common APIs included in the Universal Windows Platform, UWP. You can click on these buttons and learn more about each of these IoT, C# and .NET related topics. So using C#, you are able to automate and monitor real-world devices. C# and .NET provide excellent support for Internet of Things applications. I personally find this very exciting indeed. With the widespread infrastructural rollout of 5G, this will bring an abundance of opportunities for C# developers and the creation and innovation of IoT projects. Number 5, Azure Cloud. Cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage and computing power, without direct active management by the user. With no upfront operational costs, it is extremely cost-effective for companies to move their computing and storage requirements to the cloud. Microsoft offers an excellent cloud solution in the form of Microsoft Azure. What is Microsoft Azure? Let's navigate to this URL to learn more. The Azure Cloud Platform is more than 200 projects and cloud services designed to help you bring new solutions to life, to solve today's challenges and create the future. Build, run, and manage applications across multiple clouds, on-premises, and at the edge, with the tools and frameworks of your choice. Although Microsoft Azure is committed to open source and support for all languages and frameworks, C# and .NET are of course Microsoft technologies. These technologies can be effectively leveraged to run several types of applications in the cloud. For example, cross-platform, microservices, can run inside Docker containers on Kubernetes, used for microservice orchestrations. Web applications, mobile services, Internet of Things applications, software as a service applications, serverless functions, and much more can run on Azure Cloud. C# can be leveraged both at the edge level as well as in the cloud. Edge is a buzzword, like IoT and cloud. In edge computing, data is processed by the device itself or by a local computer or server, rather than being transmitted to a data center. We don't want our systems to be delayed by that universal speed limit we call the speed of light, so we can use the client devices themselves for compute power to process the data from where the data is derived, and in this way significantly reduce latency in our local or global systems. In the previous section of this video, i.e. the previous reason to learn C#, we briefly discussed some of the Azure services available for IoT applications and systems. IoT Central, IoT Hub, IoT Edge, and Windows 10 IoT Core services. C# and .NET are supported for edge computing as well as cloud computing. The combination of edge and cloud computing can be leveraged to create highly scalable, powerful, and efficient local or global systems. So C# and .NET give developers flexibility and power at their fingertips. With low upfront costs, C# and .NET developers have incredible opportunities to test out new ideas and ultimately bring those new ideas to the masses. You are only limited by your level of education and imagination. The means of production is in your hands. Leverage serverless services. When the underlying servers, infrastructure, and OS is taken care of by the cloud service provider, CSP, this is known as serverless services. Serverless services are generally highly available, scalable, and cost-effective. Your serverless code is described as functions. These functions can be running on different compute instances. Serverless compute could run for a fraction of a second. Billing into microseconds will save you money because you are not paying for unused computation. Logic Apps in Azure allows you to build serverless workflows composed of Azure functions, basically state machines for serverless compute. So Azure provides a pay-as-you-go service which dramatically reduces barriers to making your .NET cloud-based applications available to your consumers at local or global scale. Through Azure Autoscale, you're able to scale apps to meet changing demand. You can save money by using only the resources you need. With Schedule Autoscale, you can provision more resources at specific times. For example, say you run an online retail shopping site and Black Friday is coming. Simply tell Autoscale to add 10 times more virtual machines in advance to handle the load. You are able to scale by any metric. Autoscale is a built-in feature of cloud services, mobile services, virtual machines, and websites that helps applications perform at their best when demand changes. Some apps are CPU-bound, others memory-bound. You are able to scale your service by any metric you define. Number 6. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning in .NET. This diagram depicts the relationship between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence can be described as machines that perform jobs that mimic human behavior. An AI could leverage machine learning as well as deep learning. With Azure Machine Learning Services, a service simplifies running AI, ML-related workloads. What is machine learning? Machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence, AI, that provides systems the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning focuses on the development of computer programs that can access data and use it to learn for themselves. Here are some examples of machine learning applications: image recognition, speech recognition, traffic prediction, product recommendation, Self-driving cars, email spam filtering, virtual personal assistant, online fraud detection, facial recognition, and emotion detection in images. Stock market trading used for the prediction of stock market trends. Medical diagnosis. Automatic language translation. Excuse me, please can you direct me to the nearest train station?
Entschuldigen Sie, können Sie mich zum nächsten Bahnhof leiten?
すみません。最寄りの鉄道駅への行き方を教えていただけますか?
Excusez-moi s'il vous plaît, pouvez-vous me diriger vers la gare la plus proche?
打扰一下，你能告诉我最近的火车站吗？
Прошу прощения, не могли бы вы направить меня на ближайший железнодорожный вокзал?
This demonstration of automatic speech translation was done using the translation app on my iPhone. For those of you who speak German, Japanese, French, Mandarin, or Russian, please let me know if these translations are accurate. Let's navigate to this URL to learn more about .NET support for machine learning. ML.NET is a free, open-source, cross-platform machine learning framework made specifically for .NET developers. With ML.NET, you can develop and integrate custom machine learning models into your .NET applications without needing prior machine learning experience. ML.NET is an extensible platform with tooling in Visual Studio as well as a cross-platform CLI that powers recognized Microsoft features like Windows Hello, Bing Ads, PowerPoint design ideas, and more. .NET for Apache Spark. Apache Spark is a general-purpose distributed data analytics engine that operates on large datasets, typically terabytes or petabytes of data. .NET for Apache Spark gives you APIs for using Apache Spark from C# and F#. Cognitive services. Easily add intelligent features to your .NET apps with our pre-built AI models, such as emotion and sentiment detection, vision and speech recognition, language understanding, knowledge, and intelligent search. The Intelligent Kiosk sample app illustrates how cognitive services can be incorporated into a .NET app. Azure Machine Learning. Azure Machine Learning is a fully managed cloud service that enables you to easily build, deploy, and share predictive analytics solutions. The recommended engine sample app shows Azure Machine Learning being used in a .NET app. And you can click these buttons to learn more about each of these topics. What is deep learning? Machines that have an artificial neural network inspired by the human brain to solve complex problems. Use Azure Machine Learning services to run deep learning workloads such as TensorFlow. Number 7. The Unity Game Engine. With a good knowledge of C# and the Unity Game Engine, you can create and monetize 2D and 3D games. In the not-too-distant past, if you wanted to create a game, your only option was to work for a company and use their proprietary technology. For most people, the cost of an existing game engine license would be out of reach. Unity has significantly lowered the barrier to entry. An indie game developer is able to monetize their games through in-game advertisements or in-app purchases. Unity enables developers to not only easily make their vision come to life inside the Unity game engine, but also monetize their game. C# is used in Unity to create scripts that tell your game objects how to behave and how to interact with one another. Unity runs in a big loop. It reads all the data that's in a game scene. For example, it reads through the lights, the meshes, what the behaviors are, and it processes all of this information for you. In Unity, you don't need to create the code that runs the application because Unity does it for you. Instead, you focus on the gameplay in your scripts. Here are some notable games that have been written in Unity. Pokemon Go, Fall Guys, Hollow Knight, Outer Wilds, Arizona Sunshine, Ori and the Blind Forest, Escape from Tarkov. Unity's personal price plan allows developers to download Unity free of charge, and the developer is able to use the free version of Unity for personal use, while revenue or funding is less than $100,000 in the last 12 months. There are also other paid business plans available. If you look through the Unity website at unity.com, you can see that Unity offers many exciting products. Number 8. C# is an evolving language. C# is constantly evolving and providing easy ways to implement code. Of course, each code evolution does not mean you need to rewrite existing code. Think of it as just delicious code sugar sprinkled on top. Sweet. Meaning the code experience is made simpler through enhanced features. And the compiler does the heavy lifting when translating your code into IL, intermediate language code, that ultimately gets compiled into machine language by the Common Language Runtime. We don't want to get too bogged down in technical detail in this video, but let's look at a few examples of code evolutions in C#. Before C# version 7.0, for this scenario where the is type expression is applied, you would need to test each type in a series of if and is statements. You're testing a variable to determine its type and taking a different action based on that type. This code becomes simpler using extensions to the is expression to assign a variable if the test succeeds. In this updated version, the is expression both tests the variable and assigns it to a new variable of the proper type. So this code evolution is known as pattern matching. For more information on pattern matching, please navigate to this URL. As the number of conditions increase within the relevant method, a switch statement may be more appropriate. Here are examples of pattern matching code written using switch statements. C# version 7.0 was released in 2017. C# version 9.0 was released on the 10th of November 2020. Let's navigate to this URL to see what enhancements were included with the release of C# version 9. Records, init-only setters, top-level statements, pattern matching enhancements, etc. Note that in order to use the C# code enhancements for version 9.0 of C#, you must have .NET 5 installed. These features are supported on .NET 5 and not on earlier versions of .NET. Let's look at record types. C# 9.0 introduces record types, which are a reference type that provides synthesized methods to provide value semantics for equality. Records are immutable by default. Record types make it easy to create immutable reference types in .NET. Historically, .NET types are largely classified as reference types, including classes and anonymous types, and value types, including structs and tuples. While immutable value types are recommended, mutable value types don't often introduce errors. Value type variables hold the values, so changes are made to a copy of the original data when value types are passed to methods. There are many advantages to immutable reference types as well. These advantages are more pronounced in concurrent programs with shared data. Unfortunately, C# forced you to write quite a bit of extra code to create immutable reference types. Records provide a type declaration for an immutable reference type that uses value semantics for equality. The synthesized methods for equality and hash codes consider two records equal if their properties are all equal. Consider this definition. The record definition creates a person type that contains two read-only properties, first name and last name. The person type is a reference type. If you look at the IL code, it's a class. It's immutable in that none of the properties can be modified once it's been created. When you define a record type, the compiler synthesizes several other methods for you. Methods for value-based equality comparisons, override for get hash code, copy and clone members, print members, and toString. Records support inheritance. You can declare a new record derived from person as follows. So please check out this webpage for a detailed view of enhanced features included in C# version 9. Number 9. Exciting new .NET-based open source projects and .NET integrations. Open source software is a type of computer software in which source code is released under a license in which the copyright holder grants users the right to use, study, change, and distribute the software to anyone and for any purpose. Two open source projects written in C# have caught my attention. Peach Pie is an open source project that allows for a seamless interoperability between PHP and .NET applications. Peach Pie enables developers to run WordPress on .NET. WordPress is a free and open source content management system written in PHP and paired with a MySQL or MariaDB database. Features include a plugin architecture and a template system referred to within WordPress as themes. WordPress is web publishing software you can use to create a website or blog. It provides an easy and flexible blogging and website content management system, CMS, for beginners. WordPress is extremely popular because it's 100% free and open source and easy to use. It's also highly customizable and fast and good for SEO, search engine optimization. So the ability to run WordPress on .NET and leverage C# to integrate additional functionality with WordPress applications could be very appealing to many .NET developers. For those who wish to learn more about this exciting open source project, I've included links to relevant content below in the description. A Microsoft employee has automated his home with .NET Core, Habitat, and Azure with his open source project called Puppet. This IoT project allows you to customize your Habitat-based home automation system using C#. If you look at the Habitat website, we can see a brief description of the company. Habitat Inc. was founded by home automation enthusiasts committed to delivering the best possible home automation platform. Their platform is known as Habitat Elevation. For more information on Habitat, please navigate to this URL. I've included relevant links below in the description. And finally, number 10. C# is an in-demand programming language. So let's look at a few well-known programming language ranking indexes to see where C# is currently ranked. So the TIOBE index has C# ranked as the number 5 programming language. The PYPL, or Popularity of Programming Index, has C# ranked at number 4, and Red Monk has C# ranked at number 5. C# is consistently ranked within the top 5 most popular programming languages. C# skills are in huge demand and opportunities are not in short supply. You could work on web applications for a small web development agency. You could work as a Unity game developer, perhaps working for a startup company. You could work as a mobile Xamarin developer, perhaps working for a large consulting house and digital transformation company, or a C# developer working on microservices for a fintech company. You may decide you want to work for yourself. Either way, with great C# skills, there are many opportunities and remuneration is generally excellent. So let's recap. My top 10 reasons to learn C# are: Number 1, the release of .NET 5. Number 2, C# is a powerful and flexible language that is relatively easy to learn. Number 3, Asp Net Web Technologies, including MVC and Blazor. Number 4, IoT, Internet of Things. Number 5, Azure Cloud. Number 6, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning in .NET. Number 7, the Unity game engine. Number 8, C# is an evolving language. Number 9, exciting new .NET-based open source projects and .NET integrations. And lastly, number 10, C# is an in-demand programming language. I hope you have enjoyed this video on my top 10 reasons to learn C# in 2021. Please let me know your reasons to learn C# below in the comments section. Or if C# is not your language of choice, tell me your language of choice and why you prefer that language. For more content like this and more programming tutorials, please consider subscribing, and please ring the bell to be notified of future content. Please feel free to share this video with anyone you feel may benefit from its content. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It will be greatly appreciated. Thank you and take care.